Good afternoon, grade 11s. This is your IT lesson. It is Thursday, the 14th of May. We're going to continue working through the arrays activities. Okay. So today's work, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take one of your study opportunities activities that I've assigned to you, and I'm going to work through the activity with you to show you how to code an array. So today's activity is from page 157 in your Delphi Study Opportunities textbook. It is activity 1, assign values to array elements, and we are working on question 1. So let's quickly see what question 1 says. A radio station has launched a competition where listeners must phone in and choose a number 1 to 5. Each number represents a different prize. When the listener phones in and chooses a number, the announcer enters the number and the prize allocated to that specific number appears on the screen. Write the program the announcer can use. An example of the program interface is displayed here. So you will see on page 157 and on our screen, this is what the presenter has. They have a Delphi little program in front of them, and the listeners are phoning in to pick a prize. So what we have here is a SpinEdit, okay, that has, if I click on my SpinEdit here, and I go to my object inspector, you will see that the max value is set to 5 and my minimum value is set to 1. So those that just joined, I'm on page 157 in your Delphi textbook. And let me just minimize that. Okay, so then I have a button here, button pick, and when the presenter clicks on it, it's going to select a specific prize. I have a panel where it will display, and then I have a reset button here for me to be able to go to my next listener. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to code the pick the prize. Okay, so what I'm first going to do is I'm going to go up here to the top and I'm just going to check what I have here. So we've got radio Yebo. There's our interface, our users, it's a standard users, all our types. What I need to add here under variable is I'm going to go, let's just see what the different ones are. Okay, so the 3 things I have to do is I'm going to have to code form activate, button next, and button pick. So under private here, you can either do it underneath var at the bottom here, or you can code it under private. I'm going to declare my array. So I'm going to call it R prize. And remember, I need to say that it is an array, and there are 5 numbers, so 1 to 5 and it is going to be of type string. I have activated the chat function. Just raise your hand or wave at me so that I know that you are asking a question. Okay, so first of all we're going to do is we are going to code, let's see, I need to go and declare my array. So before I can get to button pick, I need to go and declare the array. I'm going to go click once on my form, go to events, and on the form activate, I'm going to double click to activate my form activate. Okay, here I'm going to declare my array. Okay, so here you can make your prizes whatever you prefer. I'm just going with the ones that I have here. So you have won Justin Bieber tickets. If you choose prize 2 or button 2, you would win an iPad, quite a nice prize that. Or prize 3, you will win And let's make it, let's say a 64 gigabyte flash drive. Okay. Our prize for a chocolate gift pack. And my last prize, if they select button or the fifth option, is going to be, let's say, 5,000 Rand clothing voucher. Okay, you can make it up to, you can choose your own prizes here. Okay, so choose something that you're interested in and you can decide how it's going to be. Okay, so the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to go and code my button pick. And I've got my button pick there. And before I can start with button pick, I'm going to have to declare some variables. So let's quickly see which variables am I going to need. I'm going to need a variable to declare the number that was selected. And that is going to be an integer. And also something to display the prizes. So that could be a string. Okay. And then I simply begin with my code. So what am I going to do is I'm going to declare what is I number. So we have chosen a SpinEdit set number and the property is dot value. So whatever value was chosen by my SpinEdit must be written to I number. Then I'm going to declare S prize. And what I want here is I've coded my array prize. And whatever was selected as I number must be then chosen from our prize. So here I'm actually going to enter my I number into my array. Okay. And then I want to display it. So my panel prizes dot caption. And I'm just going to have a little message saying you won plus S prize. So whatever was selected here in the above in S prize will then be displayed over there. Okay. The last thing I want to, if we look at our program again, I want to be able to clear my panel and reset my SpinEdit so that the next listener that phones in will be able to select. So I'm going to double click on my next click. Here you are simply going to reset all your values. So set number, set number dot value, and I'm going to assign it to 0. Okay. I'm going to reset my, say, set number to set focus so that my cursor goes back there. Okay. And the last thing I need to do is go and clear my panel prizes so that I can't see the previous person's prize. Dot caption, and I'm going to assign it to an empty string. Okay, so I'm going to quickly run through my program. Let's hope that everything is working correctly. Okay, so the first person that phones in, they've chosen the lucky number 5. I go to option 5. I'm going to display it and says you have won 5,000 Rand clothing voucher. And that's fantastic. And the phone starts ringing off the hook and I go to next listener. So what next listener does, it's going to reset it back to the lowest value. Remember, we had set our minimum value to 1. And here we are going to choose 3. And there you've won a 64 gigabyte flash drive. Okay, so that wasn't difficult at all. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the code. How you're going to do this, you're going to start in form you first start and you're going to declare your array. Okay, so R prize array 1 to 5 of string. You can either declare it under private section or globally under variable. It's up to you. Okay. Then you need to go and specify what is in your array. So if they choose 1, what would it be? So you will do that on the form activate. Okay. So you'll go and declare your array 1, position 2, up to 5. You're going to say that for each one. And then you're going to go and code your actual array. So you first go and read the values in from your SpinEdit into the variable iNumber. Then whatever was selected in iNumber, you are going to read into the array, which will then be displayed in SPrize. Okay. And then over here, you will have your answer. Okay. Yes, Bokang. Please type your question in the chat for me. Just going to give Bokang a few seconds to type. There's sometimes a delay. Let me see if I can unmute your microphone, then you'll be able to ask. Okay, Bokang, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can I ask you just to speak a bit louder? It's a bit soft, your mic. Can you ask your question?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask if why in this case you haven't used a for loop.
Okay, this is a very basic option I used to SpinEdit, and I specified each one. If there are more variables or where I have to test against something, then I'm going to use a for loop. But here I've just simply declared, depending on which number they selected, they will win a prize. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So that was the one activity. The next one that you are going to work on is still on the same program. You would have, so activity 1.2 says, open the program you wrote in activity 1.1. Change the program so a listener can win an amount of money between 100 Rand and 1,000 Rand. Also, add a checkbox onto the form. When the checkbox is ticked, all the amounts that can be won should be doubled. If the tick is removed from the checkbox and later it is ticked again, the amount should be doubled again. So let us take a look at this program. Okay, so let's see if I'm going to work in the same program here. We're just going to go and check that all our information is still the same. We've got our button click. We're going to change here slightly. I just want to see on the form activate. So this time on the form activate, what I'm going to do is here I've specified specifically. So Bokang just asked a good question, why didn't I use a for loop? I'm now in this instance, I'm going to use a for loop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in my form activate, I'm going to declare a variable and I'm going to use I and we'll call it integer. Okay, then I wanted to randomize. So it's what will now happen is as the person clicks or selects, let me just see, CBX, I must go and place, change the program so a listener can win an amount of money between 100 and 1,000, add a checkbox. So I'm going to go and insert a checkbox. I'm just going to place it here on the side. And we are going to call it, let me get to the name, CBX double. Okay, and we will just call it double here. Okay, so there we've got our checkbox. Okay, So first we're going to go back to our design into form activate. And what I'm going to say in form activate is I'm going to use my randomize function. Okay, so basically choose a number between 1 and 5. Then I'm going to start my for loop for I, assign, let's just remove this. I assign 1 to 5 do. And here, what I remember, I like to have begins and ends in my for loops just so it reads a bit clearer. Are prices, index I, so whatever was written to I, now I'm going to say here, random. Now random 10, so that is from the first instance to 9. Then I'm going to say plus 1 so that it includes my 10 times 100. Okay. And let's just see R prices. Why does it not like my R prices? I have up there. Let's just keep this as R price. Sorry, I just want to quickly check here. What might it? Okay, here I'm going to just keep it as R price, not R prices, so that I'm using the same declaration I did up at the top here. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to code is the actual button. And it's going to open CBX double for me. And on CBX double, I'm going to declare a variable also, var, and var is going to be an integer. And then I'm going to use an if statement. If CBX double dot checked. So if it is checked, that's my property or my method, then I'm going to have a inner for loop for I assign 1 to 5 do. Oh, we've got a double assign there. I wanted to do the following. If it's just one line of code, then it seems that you don't need to have begin end, but it's actually just a better practice. Our price index I, and we're going to assign it also. Sorry, I'm getting a bit. No, I'm going to have our price index I times by 2. Okay. Okay, so we've got, let's just double check here, R price I, and then what I had initialized R price I already, and I'm going to multiply it by 2. And then I'm going to go to my, let's check my button. Where's my button next? That is still the same. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go and change our button pick. So our variables are still I number and S price. I'm still reading a value from my SpinEdit, but here I'm now going to change this line here. Okay, so I'm going to have here, I'm going to write the outside first, and then I'll fix up my conversion. So I've got R prices, and I'm using I number, and then FF currency. So what does that mean? If I'm using FF currency, it means that I need to do a conversion. Okay, so that will be a float to string F. And just make sure you're using R price, not R prices. And then what I will do, this caption is going to stay exactly the same. So let us run our program and see if it has done it correctly. Where's my error? Flow to string F. Let's see. R prize, I number, FF currency 82. Where is my error? I've got my float to string, F. This is a good question. Let's see what it's saying. If there's an overloaded version of float to string F. It is not liking that. R prize. Let's see if we change this to R prizes here. But then I'll have to change it everywhere. That's still going to give us the same error. Okay, who can figure out where my error is? If you can, add it to the chat there for me. Our prizes I number, if currency spelled if currency correctly, 82 float to string F, which is correct. Let's try it without. No, too many parameters, and it's not converting correctly. Ha. Okay, so guys, there we've got one, prizes. Okay, it is not liking this line. Can any of you seem to see where the problem is? I'm going to unmute your mics. Come now, unmute. Okay, it doesn't allow me to unmute. Bakan, can you see where the error is? Or Rosejo?
No, ma'am.
Not.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
I think it is supposed to be correct. It might just be trying to see if there's anywhere else that we might have an error. I've said our prizes.
Ma'am, is the R prizes, is it like automatically a float type of variable?
No, it only becomes a float variable when I used a fixed format. So what I wanted, because I'm dealing with money, I'm going to use currency, and then I use the float to string F. But
yes, ma'am.
there seems to be a, okay. So guys, this should actually run. I will run it let's see if I can run it on the main program. I'm going to save this one and then close it, and we'll see. Let's just find the document. Okay, so here we've got our questions. Okay, so there was the double the money. We're going to run the program. Let's see if it works, because it should be exactly the same. So here I've chosen, choose a number, pick the prize. You've won 400 Rand. And if I say double the money and I click that, it must change my code to 800. Okay, so let's go into our code and just see what was different. I've declared my arrays up at the top under private. I've go first to my form activate. I'm going to use the randomize function for I1 to 5 do array R prizes index 1, and then I'm going to choose a random number between 1 and 10 and multiply it by 100. So if I chose number 2, or number 2 was selected, okay, then it must be 2 times 100, which is going to give me 200. The next part we had to check code for was the checkbox. So what the checkbox does, it is going to double your money. So whatever number was written to R prizes I index must be multiplied by 2 and written back to R prizes. Okay, so And then we are going to go into the button pick and just try and see. I wonder if I might have made a spelling mistake, maybe spelled float F-L-A-O, because it's exactly the same code and this one is running. So just check your spelling before the time. Okay. So guys, there, if you paid some attention, I have actually done 2 of your activities, your homework for you. So make sure that you re-watch this video if you are not sure how to answer those questions. Okay. Any more questions to do with these arrays?
No, ma'am.
You okay?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop the share here and end the recording.